Thank you so much, Lord Glaston, and thanks a lot for Kurdish Progress. So welcome you all to this meeting. Good morning to you. Actually, what happened? On September 8th, the party Central Committee had its seasonal meeting in our compound, in our headquarters in Khoisanjak, and we were discussing the future of Iran, the situation in Middle East, and the Kurdish case in Iranian Kurdistan. According to the bylaw of the party and the policy of the party, we have always believed in a peaceful solution to Kurdish issue in Iran. But the Islamic regime of Iran, right after the revolution, didn't listen to the demand of the Kurdish people in Iran and didn't respect the party policy in order to conduct negotiation with the Islamic regime in Iran. Following the revolution, Ayatollah Khomeini first talked about finding a peaceful solution, but after they attacked the Iranian Kurdistan and the Kurdish people had resistance against the Islamic regime, then they changed their mind and once again they talked about negotiation. According to the policy of the party, our party, Kurdistan Democratic Party, was the leading party in having negotiation with the Islamic regime in Iran. But the Islamic regime didn't believe in finding a peaceful and democratic solution to Kurdish issue. And they attacked again the Iranian Kurdistan, so they forced upon us a civil war. So the Kurdish people didn't have any choice than just defend themselves. So in this equation, there is two facts. One fact is about 10 million Kurdish people in Iranian Kurdistan, and the second fact is the Islamic regime of Iran. The Islamic regime of Iran chose the policy of terror, execution, and putting political activists in prison. Following that, they executed a lot of political activists in Iran, and then they assassinated many of our cadres and members in high level in Iraqi Kurdistan, and they continued this policy until the Wien incident, while Dr. Abdurrahman Qassemlu, the leader of the party, was in negotiation with the Iranian delegation in Vienna. He was assassinated there. Some years later, Dr. Sadiq Sharafkandi, while he was leading the Socialist International meeting, had a meeting with the Iranian oppositional groups for finding a common language among the Iranian political parties. He was assassinated in Mykonos. By the time when Dr. Qassemlu was assassinated in Vienna, the Austrian government escorted the Iranian terrorists direct to Tehran. There was no any justice and court in Austria. But in Mykonos, the German system of court and justice actually made a decision and announced that the Iranian high level was responsible for the assassination of Dr. Sadiq Sharafkandi. So it was the policy of the Iranian regime. During this time, we never responded to the Iranian terrorist act by conducting any military act on the Iranian interest in the region. We have always chosen the policy of non-violation, negotiation, and finding a democratic solution to Kurdish issue in Iran. And as a member of Socialist International, we always expected that the Socialist International and political parties who are members of Socialist International would raise the case of Kurdish issue in international level. Why the Islamic regime of Iran attacked the headquarters of Kurdistan Democratic Party? Iran right now is facing a severe crisis, economic crisis, social crisis, almost every crisis in the country. The value of Iranian currency is down by about 70%. So it's a chaos in Iran. This regime does not have any solution, does not have any project to solve the problem inside Iran. That's why they are trying to create instability in the region, and they are trying to tell the Iranian people that there are enemies outside Iranian border which is threatening us. By sending missiles to headquarters of Kurdistan Democratic Party, they had a lot of messages to send to region. First, they attacked the party because our party is one of the leading parties who's supporting the civil movement in Iranian Kurdistan, which during last 3-4 years been a great opportunity for Iranian Kurdish people against the Islamic regime. Second, they would like to send a message to United States as a superpower in this region, to countries in this region, that the Islamic regime has the capability to send missiles if is needed to almost everywhere in Middle East. Why they just choose our party? Technically, in terms of military, they choose party because we do not have any missile to send back to Tehran, because we are not a country that can defend ourselves. We are just a party that we can just raise the voice of Kurdish people in Iran. Where was the headquarters? Headquarters is a compound near the city of Koysanjak. This compound is a place for the different institutions of the party: youth organization, women organization, Save Children organization, and medication organization, and every other organization that are serving the women's, children's, and civilian in this compound, who died in this compound. 6 of my colleagues, while we all sitting around a table and discussing a peaceful and democratic solution to Kurdish issue in this region. Among those who been injured, there are women, there are children. They were at the yard of the compound. So the compound was a civilian headquarters for our activities. What was the reaction of the Islamic regime? On 9th of September, the Iranian Guard Corps announced that they have sent missiles to the headquarters of the party, and they admitted it and they accepted it, that they have done it. It's first time since the Iran-Iraq war that Iran using surface-to-surface missile in long range, and it was happened first to target the headquarters of the party. What was the reaction of the international community? As far as the Persian, Kurdish, Arabic, and English media is concerned, they have actually reflected this incident, and even the Iranian media talked a lot about that. In terms of political reaction, we have been witnessing many countries and many political parties showing solidarity with our party and condemn the action, this terrorist action of the Islamic regime of Iran. And even the United States representative in United Nations during the meeting of the Security Council of United Nations, Nikki Haley, condemned the Iranian attack on headquarters of Kurdistan Democratic Party. Who is who in this equation? And who are the parties in this equation, in this scenario? As I mentioned, one side is Kurdish people in Iranian Kurdistan, and other side is the Islamic regime of Iran. The Islamic regime of Iran conducted this missile attack on the headquarters of the party, but what was the reaction of Kurdish people? On September 12th, the majority of Iranian Kurdish people, in widespread reaction, they shut down the shops, they stayed at home, and sent a clear message to Tehran. Probably Iran will target our headquarters in future, as it has done before, but Iran can't target about 10 million Kurdish people in Iran by missiles. So missiles, terrorist action from the Iranian government against Kurdish people, against our party, is not the solution. As far as the Kurdish national, ethnic, and democratic rights in Iran is not respected, our struggle will continue. Our struggle will continue. And I am sure, the uprising in Iran and the crisis in Iran, and probably the unity among political parties, Kurdish, non-Kurdish, regardless the different background and different political idea and religion, will become an alternative to Islamic regime of Iran. This regime can't continue as it does right now in the Middle East. A regime which is not accountable for its own people, a regime does not respect the international law, and a regime does not respect the sovereignty of Iraq as a neighbor and just sending missiles to neighboring countries. And I believe it's just a start of Iranian decision in the continuation of the internal crisis to create more crisis in Middle East, to produce this crisis to other countries. And what will happen in future if Iran not facing an international condemnation? What will happen in future if any of this missile is equipped with chemical weapons? What will happen if any of this missile will come down in Baghdad, in Saudi Arabia, in Israel, or in any country in this region? Because the Iranian regime, while it's facing this deep crisis, will do what is possible just in creating more crisis outside the Iranian border. Iran tries to send this message to its own people that almost every country in this region and every other religious and every other activities, they are against Iran. They try to create an enemy for Iranian people and tell them we have to defend ourselves. But the Islamic regime of Iran is not defending the Iranian people. They just try to survive a little bit more. They just defending themselves and try to get out of this crisis by creating instability in region and probably and possibly a war in this region. The Islamic regime is a product of war, a product of terror, a product of instability. That's why they probably will use this situation, and they will do whatever to create instability in this region. At the end, we are expecting that international community and especially the Labour Party, as one of the major parties in United Kingdom, through its friends in Socialist International, raise the Kurdish issue, especially respond the Iranian missile attack, that it will not be accepted in future. Just would like to point it out again, if any of this missile is equipped with chemical weapon, what will happen in future? That's why Iran should face a big reaction from international community. And I hope that the Labour Party will raise this issue with the British government and send this message to them and tell them that Iran is playing a dangerous game in this region. It shouldn't be without answer. Thank you so much.